Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the old world. I hope you're all doing well, and today, my friends, we have a tournament showdown here between Vampire Coast and the Skaven. It's going to be LUTHOR Harkin coming in, which is pretty cool to see. I would say the most common lord for the Vampire Coast probably are just either Count Noctilus just because of the summons, and of course he also has Pit of Shades, Invocation, a lot of good utility spells, or I guess Celestra is making a little bit of comeback as well, and the very cheap Vampire Captain, or the Vampire Admiral, who's just has the Pariah Pit, which gives you tons of winds of magic, but very cool to see LUTHOR. So he's going to be facing off here against Throt the Unclean. Throt is a pretty good choice if you're expecting your opponent to come in with like crabs or any of that kind of coast big mass. He also is a decent general armor piercing character, so if he has to like put a dent in depth guard, he can do it. And who doesn't love Rat Ogre summons? It's always pretty good, right? So it's going to be King of the Dead versus FPod here, taking a look at the armies of King of the Dead. It's going to be your boy, LUTHOR Harkin, up on the big beastie in the sky. On top of that, we do have a Vampire of the Deep, who's going to be doing the Kraken's Pull and Vangeist's Revenge. Pistol Mob's leading the charge. Obviously, Skaven front lines aren't that great, so you can put your pistols in front, Game of Thrones style. Cannons in the back, it looks like it's going to be triple cannons. Might have some line of sight issues, but for the most part, they should be able to counter any Skaven artillery or shooting and put some serious pressure on those guys. Now, looking here at FPod, FPod has a pretty sweet build, I'm not going to lie. It is going to be ye old Vixtrin's Death Squad. So these little rats going to be sneaking around, jumping on Objective 3 here, backed up by some Avalanche Mortars. I love the Skaven build. Avalanche Mortars really do thump pretty hard. Very vulnerable against Coast, though, because if Coast uses some Felbats, it can shut them down very quickly, and it's hard to support them. And it's going to be Jezzails in the back, Warp Lightning Cannon, and a whole front battle line of Clan Rats. So pretty elite by Skaven standards. No Skaven slaves and whatnot, but you definitely want to go Rattling Gunners against like a character like LUTHOR. You know, good juking, he can get back and forth and avoid those shots. Nonetheless, he's taking some work, and this is why Throt is cool here, because if LUTHOR wants to get a little bit crunk and land on the ground here, a little breath attack going down, not too much damage, your boy Throt would be able to summon Rat Ogres on him and really wreck him. So far, pretty good opening here from FPod. He's been able to get a big value lead, beating up LUTHOR Harkin, Warp Lightning Cannon doing some good work, and on the side, we have the Vixtrins, boys. Thought they were going to steal the objective, but no, they're going for blood. They're looking to get into that backfield and cause some serious problems. So we'll have to see how this all unfolds. The coast, the first reinforcement coming in is going to be Bombers as well as Depth Guard looking to rush up to the middle. LUTHOR Harkin's just kind of juking back and forth, trying to waste some of the ammo here of these Natty Booba sharpshooters, and he's juking pretty well, but the only problem for LUTHOR is, yes, he does have the hunger, so he's going to be able to heal, but he does not have access to lore vampires. Oh yeah, dude, I love those things. The Avalanche Mortars, an avalanche of pain on the Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs right there. Beautiful positioning as well, with the Vanguard point nearby, so you can get the Wolf Rats to kind of protect them. That's pretty cool. Now, how is King of the Dead going to be responding against the Vixtrins? FPod's pushing in there pretty aggressive. Mortars instantly killing some of the pistols, and we do see some Scurvy Dogs. Guys, I don't think he saw these. I don't think he saw the Vixtrins. The concealment bombs, like, helped them sneak by. They must be revealed by now. So they're in the backfield, and those cannons, obviously great here, but suddenly the sneakiest of rats do get onto the objective, and they are just going to be cutting these guys up like butter. I love the sneaky rat play. So Vixtrins do get in there, able to shut down the cannon. So one cannon's going to be dying very quickly. And what is the Vampire Coast response going to be? They might not have noticed it. It's very easy to not notice such things, but oh my god, one cannon's down, the other one is in serious danger. And LUTHOR Harkin able to get up on the Avalanche Mortars on the side. No objective taken here. The middle objective is going to be going to Coast, and we do get the Depth Guard preparing to rush the Skaven battle lines. But man, oh man, the Vixtrins have literally gotten 2 cannon crews, 1,600 value. I mean, they're not going to have that on them, but that's basically what they've gotten. Those cannons are 800. You know, the crumbling damage isn't factored into the value on the unit that caused them to crumble, right? So it doesn't always give you the most accurate metric. But Vampire Coast is still scrapping despite getting absolutely owned in the backfield here. There are going to be some Morngulls, which should be able to kill the Vixtrins. And we do also see the Vampire Coast pushing up with some Depth Guard. LUTHOR Harkin getting wrecked a little bit as well, though. He does have the Jezzails putting some hurt on him, and the Mortars are now back online. Oh my goodness, the Depth Guard, they're getting nailed. They're getting absolutely nailed there, although that first big volley did miss. So the Depth Guard did mitigate some of that. But now they're into the Clan Rats, so at least if the Mortars do shoot for Vampire Coast's sake, it will friendly fire some of the Rats. Bombers are also quite good here. Many of the I guess, quote-unquote elite Skaven infantry here, the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers, is going to be having a pretty bad time against that. And the Vixtrins boys in the back, one cannon crew was able to survive, so one cannon is alive. Back objective taken by Coast, middle objective taken by Coast as well. Currently, FPod has a value lead of about 4,700 to 34, but again, not taking into account healing and crumbling and all those sort of other shenanigans here. It doesn't seem like Vampire Coast has the best answers for Depth Guard here. What you really want to do against Depth Guard with Skaven is Globadiers or Rat Ogres. Rat Ogres will just pummel them, and Globadiers also just absolutely wreck them. So those are usually your two answers. Luthor's been a little bit disruptive though. I mean, he's been lurking back here, and look, the Skaven player is currently allocating 2 units to kind of guard back here against Luthor, which is 2 less units that aren't beating down the depth guard, helping to secure the middle. So there's a lot of kind of sneaky traps here. Now in the backfield, we do see Scurvy Dogs. Oh, very sneaky King of the Dead play here, moving into the backfield with the Ikid Zap Zap Cannon. Pretty funny fact about King of the Dead. He actually doesn't use control groups, so he doesn't like control group anything. It's just straight up the Wild West, like clicking just rapidly on the screen, and yeah, it's pretty out of control. But Scurvy Dog's going to be getting the Zap Zap Cannon, a little bit of revenge for earlier. The Rout Ogres are here to potentially fend off the Scurvy Dogs, but I think they might be able to get the kill on the Zap Zap Cannon. Scurvy Dogs, Hound units in general, do a lot of DPS against these type of targets. They have high models, so they can kill the crews very quickly. Whereas sometimes like more low model count things don't pick off the crew quite as fast. But that's a pretty big loss there for ye old Skaven. They are going to be taking the troll toll right there. Now in the middle, we do get Plague Monks coming in. Was it a summon? No, yes. Summoned Plague Monks do get caught in the Kraken's pull, and the pistol mobs going after Throt the Unclean. Luthor Harkin now going in as well, and the Ogres, of course, who were defending the mortars, are like, screw the shit, let's get into the middle, do some work. Nice play here by FPod. FPod's able to get the Rout Ogres on top of Luthor Harkin, so Luthor's going to be getting punched. And what you would want to do in this situation is get the Rout Ogres and move past Luthor Harkin and then attack once you have him surrounded. Granted, the Ogres still do get some damage, and of course the Jezzails in the back, I believe, are still online. Yeah, it looks like the Jezzails are in the trees, and they've just been putting constant pressure on Luthor Harkin, which has been very, very good. Now, Coast does have the double cap here. Warngul's going to be screaming up the side, pistol mob shooting into Rout Ogres, and it looks like there are some animated Hulks. So these are the Walmart version of the Rat Ogres. So 9.6 HP. 32-24, so they certainly hit harder. I think the Ogres are faster. Yeah, Rat Ogres have 60 speed. These things have 42, obviously, so that's a little bit of a different thing. Luthor getting really aggressive after Throt. This is very risky. I think he already uses Rat Ogre summon, so I don't think you need to worry too much, but Throt could have easily just stayed there and probably battled Luthor Harkin and potentially killed him. I think that would have been a good idea, but instead, he puts some respect on his name. He runs away a little bit, runs a little bit closer to the Vampire coastlines, and kind of gets himself surrounded a little bit, so that was a pretty big blunder, I think. I think Throt could have maybe fought Luthor back there and traded very cost effectively, but now he's close to this Vampire caster here. He's taken some big hits, hornswaggled, and things are getting a little bit messy. But Skaven are on the return. They do have the Globadiers in the middle, nuking down the deckhand mobs. Looking in the backfield, we do see one objective taken by the Skaven with the Clan Rat Spears. Objectives, looking to be a 2-cap for the coast, although very sneaky rats here in the back. We do have Clan Rats, although they're not really sneaky rats, but I guess all the rats are kind of sneaky. But they are going to be taking the objective. So suddenly Vampire Coast is on the back foot a little bit in terms of objectives. Though the Shade Wraith Gunners are an excellent choice. Shade Wraith Gunners are just absolute beast mode against rats. I'll tell you why. They have a discouraging effect. So rats already have really bad leadership. So if you're shooting them with some ghostly ammunition, which is going to be tanking their leadership by 16, in conjunction with your terror-causing units, your fear-causing units, it is a thing of beauty for sure. So the Rat Ogres here getting jumped by the Morngulls. We do also have Luthor in there, and what's really good about Luthor, makes him one of the better duelists in the game, is that he shoots his pistol while his Terrorgeist attacks. So it's much like in tabletop, how these different models, usually the Rider has a couple attacks and the Monster has attacks. Luthor Harkin actually plays that way. That would be like if Karl Franz was fighting in melee and Gal Maraz was attacking and Deathclaw didn't represent all of his attacks essentially when he's on there. But Shade Wraith Gunners getting big shots. Over on the far side, we do see the pistol mobs moving over, but the Clan Rats with shields should be able to dispatch them and hold that objective. So Vampire Coast is really going to have to start winning some fights here in the middle, maybe pushing to the back objective and playing that game. Currently looking at the points, though, Coast has plenty of time. The value lead, Vampire Coast is up by, I would say, oh no, they're actually down in points right now. Okay, so they did I'm getting used to the new UI. So on the left-hand side here, you can see this is the total amount of points, and the number of seconds left until that player wins the game with the respective amount of points here, which is very, very cool. So awesome mod here. Throt the Unclean, going to be getting hit with the taunt. We do have the animated Hulks moving up and after the Poison Wind Globadiers. And yeah, Luthor's been a menace this game. I mean, he's gotten 2,000 value despite getting punished and owned pretty hard earlier. And this is the thing, if Skaven start to lose their leadership against undead factions, it gets really, really tricky because your entire faction is going to be taking a penalty for your Lord having fled or died. What you can do to mitigate this as Skaven is you can run your Lord and unsummon them off the battlefield, but you don't want to do it. Throt's still pretty healthy, has a lot of room on his healing cap. That would be not the best idea here in my opinion. Rat Ogre's coming in, trying to stop Luthor. Animated Hulks moving to the back objective. The middle objective is owned by Coast, but it looks like the Skaven Slaves might be able to get some capture weight on there, but more deckhand mobs coming up. Rattling Gunners in the back, I think those are Teeth Breakers, so those are the RORs, which are pretty much an auto-take for Skaven in a lot of matchups. The fact that you can make them invisible and ambush people with just like a torrent of fire is generally very good. Now, Coast was able to get its objective back here. Very, very good Scurvy Dog play from King of the Dead. He gets them back, gets us round on the Clan Rats. Skaven, obviously aren't the most sturdy of folk, and that's why I think Pistol Mobs for Vampire Coast are just such a good unit. really, like, all your deckhand mobs are just trash and fighting. Might as well get something that can shoot and has a similar amount of HP, and then you could just use, like, scurvy dogs and other supporting pieces to help them win their fights. Nice pick here, though. Really good one by F-Pod, able to get Throt the Unclean, and he does pick off the Vampire Fleet Captain, so that's a really, really high-value pick here. And again, remember the value discrepancy. You know, Throt's healing, Luthor's healing, so there's a lot of, like, you know, inaccuracies in terms of just, like, looking at those metrics. But the one thing Vampire Coast has here that's pretty punishment is the double deck dropper, or at least one deck dropper, I think. I think the other one, no, double deck dropper with the pistols. They've always been really good against Skaven, and they are able to help pick off Throt. Throt is going to the trash can, and this is going to be very, very tough for Skaven to come back from, as the Pirate King here, Luthor Harkin, is going to be hunting down Throt the Unclean, currently at 539 HP, trying to heal, but getting shot with the deck droppers. And these guys, like in land battles, you would see Vampire Coast players often bring 3 or 4 of these and just have them focus down lords, characters, rat ogres, all sorts of stuff like that. They are just a very, very cost-effective piece here. So Throt the Unclean is basically dead. He's got 20 HP. Skaven are going to be taking the penalty for having their lord died, so going to be taking an army-wide leadership, you know, kind of pain. And Vampire Coast is actually down in value according to the old value bar, but in reality, I don't think that's the case. They seem like they have more on the battlefield. Depth Guard are active. We do have the Zap cannon here. Oh my god, Luthor might get gooned. Let's see. What's his HP right now? He's at 929. The Zap cannon trying to form ranks here, but I think the Bats will be able to get it. Luthor might even be able to jump in there. A lot of routing Skaven. That's another thing as well. Oh my god, the Avalanche Mortars are so badass. Just wrecking the Shade Wraith Gunners, but the Scurvy Dogs are all over the place. And you can see the Bats jumping down on top of the Zap cannon. But in the back, a nice summon. I do like this. Jezzail's to try and finish off your boy Luthor. And F-Pod here with the snipe. Luthor Harkin is down for the count, ladies and gentlemen. The Pirate King has been taken out by the Lord of Skaven. F-Pod here. Beautiful stuff. He does pull the value lead. Looking at the score, though, Coast does have a solid stranglehold on 2 objectives. Back one has some zombies on it, a couple dogs hiding in the bushes here. Felbat's going to be jumping on top of the Avalanche Mortars, while Rattling Gunners are summoned to the deep, just getting a huge, huge volley fire, trying to free up the Zap cannon, but I think the Zap cannon's probably going to break off the battlefield, which is going to be a pretty big setback. A lot of Scurvy Dogs getting in there. Coast is going to have to rethink how they're going to hold the middle. A couple Halberds, a couple Deckhand mobs, but the Skaven seem to have stabilized in many ways. Depth Guard trying to push back here, but getting nailed by Globadiers. Beautiful stuff. And the Ogres are getting that rear charge. These Depth Guard, negative 51 leadership, they're crumbling, and yeah, they are just going to go down super quick. What's really crazy about Depth Guard, though, the amount of healing they get is just nuts. Every second they're in combat, they're getting 0.10. So they're going to be healing, you know, really, really quickly there. But they do get taken down by the Globes and the Rout Ogres. And in the backfield here, dogs are still causing a ton of havoc. We obviously saw a big summon of, like, Rattling Gunners, different things like that. And Clan Rats are here to try and fend off the dogs, but the problem with Clan Rats is the Spear variant is that dogs are infantry size. So it's going to take him like 10 years to clear out those Scurvy Dogs, but I guess it's probably all that he had in the pool. Now, Skaven need to get some objectives back. Coast is getting a pretty sizable lead. They're going to be winning in about 300 seconds. You know, very, very fast compared to the old Skaven here. We're looking a little bit bare, a little bit shoved back in their deployment zone. Obviously, when the leadership kind of crumbles for the Skaven, it can get very scary. There's going to be some Wolf Rats coming in. They're shaken already. If they do take a pistol volley on the way down, they're probably going to break and run off the edge of the map, which would be very unfortunate considering this is, you know, a decent amount of value here for the Skaven. So the pistol mob stands at the ready. Are they going to get the shots? They are facing the right direction, so I would wager they're going to start firing. And the Scurvy Dogs do get shot. Are they going to break? Their leadership sitting at 27. Okay, they're holding on like champs. 17 leadership, and will they get the zombies? Oh, man, he kind of screwed up the charge a little bit. Okay, they then pile in. Not going to be the end of the world, but King of the Dead with a very quick response here, going to be pulling his own Scurvy Dogs. He does have some deck droppers on the way over, and it looks like the middle objective is going to be held in control while the Avalanche Mortars get back online. So Skaven are ahead on value by quite a bit, by about 1,200, but that's not enough to just like crush someone and just triple cap them. You know, typically it needs to be a little bit more than that. I mean, you do have the advantage in some regards, but again, you know, taking into account healing of Coast and things like that, it gets a little bit tricky. We do see some deckhand mobs moving to the back objective while these Scurvy Dogs trying to get onto the Globadiers, but very, very good defense here by F-Pod, able to keep those Globadiers nice and safe, and it looks like the Globes are going to be nailing into the deckhand mobs. Negative 9 leadership. Globadiers are just such a good unit. For 500 gold, you're just getting such a steal. These things have, you know, 1,500 value, probably because they just absolutely clean the floor of some of those depth guard over there. But the dogs are going to be moving in. They're like, screw this shit. Let's get in there. Let's try and shut down the Globes. In the middle, we do see Morngulls and Animated Hulks popped out, which are both very good answers here. It's tough for Skaven to kill those. I mean, you have your shooting, and if they can shoot, but typically, like, getting up close and dealing with monsters' infantry has never been Skaven's strong suit, that's for sure. We're Lightning Cannon somehow survived. Very well played. We got Jezzail's moving up as well as Clan Rats. Back objective was secured by the Vampire Coast. It may turn into a Helm's Deep situation. It's hard to say. Skaven seem pretty secure back here. Middle for Coast is being held on to. We get more pistol mobs coming in, which is a lot of undead HP. 7.5. Not as much as deckhand mobs. I think deckhand mobs have like 9 or 9,000 or something like that. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. The animated Hulks and Morghuls fighting against the Rout Ogres. Morghuls aren't super good at killing Rout Ogres, but they still do have 100 weapon strength. And man, there was a time when Morghuls, every Morghuls I think used to cause terror. Yeah, it was pretty wild. Morghuls were just a really oppressive unit when they first came out. Vampire Coast in general is pretty good. They've always been good. I would say Vampire Coast has never had a time where they're just like bad. Like they have gunline builds, they have rush builds. They've always had really powerful characters in both land battle and domination. I think in domination play, Vampire Coast is sitting around like 58% win rate. Like they're one of the more balanced undead factions. Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings are just broken in Dom. They're really crazy strong. Nice play here as well. Scurvy Dog's able to intercept the Wolf Rats. Going to be breaking those Wolf Rats up. But look at the Avalanche Mortars just thumping into these guys. While King of the Dead is basically just trying to buy time. Skaven are maintaining a value lead here a little bit. And Scurvy Dogs are just diving into the missile pieces, trying to keep them off the objectives. More Scurvy Dogs coming in as well. Both players not banking too much. King has a little bit more of a bank. He's sitting on 885 to 134 from FPod. So FPod is clearly just throwing everything he can out here, right? He does have his Jezzails back here, who are shooting into the deck droppers up there. And will this objective go to the Rats? I think it might go to the Rats eventually here. Depends on how well they get their shooting formations in place. But they need to pressure this back objective. This is where you probably save up for Vixtron's Death Squad. You Vanguard them and you keep pressing the middle, but then you are pretty much guaranteed the side objective, right? Because Scurvy Dogs will get wrecked by Death Runners too. So I think that's what you need to do in this situation. Granted, it's easier said than done. When you're like on the back foot, you're constantly having to summon units to stay even. It can be really, really hard to do that. Now, Globadier is moving in. It might get a volley off before they get wrecked by these Hounds, but so far, very good Hound and Bat play has been coming in from the Vampire Coast here, as the Globadiers are going to be hunted down. And despite their 100 armor, you know, they still have really low melee defense, so they are going to get crushed pretty hard by ye old Rats. Now in the middle, Skaven are moving up. King of the Dead starting to falter a little bit here as we do see the Deck Droppers getting broken. The Gunnery Mobs are pretty much the last bastion here. Warp Lightning Cannon and Ogres. A couple of Jezzails back there shooting. And are we going to be seeing the Death Runners? It does not look like it, although we do see some Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers. Also a good choice. And the Hounds come back here, guys. We're at 1385 for the Coast, who is maintaining a double cap, but the back objective could be getting stolen here. I don't know if they're going to be able to send anything over here, guys. This is getting very tough. This could certainly be a comeback for the Skaven. As we see more and more Scurvy Dogs jumping into the backfield, FPod is going pedal to the metal. Objective is owned by Coast. We're at 1415. Vampire Coast needs to secure its back objective. And do they have any Scurvy Dogs to get over there? A Scurvy Dog out of Vanguard could be pretty clutch. It would probably save the objective and would be able to fight the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers for a period of time. We're at 1450. This is really, really tight. Middle objective taken by Skaven. Back objectives owned by the Skaven as well. The Avalanche Mortars are online, and we see Scurvy Dogs coming across. Looking at the points, guys, 50 more seconds. So King needs to hold for less than a minute, and FPod needs to get in there and get this objective. Will the Scurvy Dogs get there? It looks like it's going to be one Scurvy Doggo. We do see some animated Hulks and a Carronade online, so it looks like there's a cannon, and the objective is going to be stabilized by the Scurvy Dogs, pushing off the Wolf Rats, and I would imagine they're going to take this fight right now, guys. Oh my god, 30 seconds left. He's at 1470, but I think he's going to lose it. The Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers are just straight up going to get that. I mean, they have 5 capture weight. Scurvy Dogs have 4. Wolf Rats have 4. So obviously you guys can do the math and see that that's not going to work out. 1480, 19 seconds left, 18 seconds. It is so incredibly close. Oh my god, and look at the capture going. Now, will the Vampire Coast snake an objective somewhere? That's the question. I mean, if Vampire Coast can resecure an objective, they have a little bit of time. They're not that far behind in value. 18.3 to about 17,000 here. We do see the Hounds coming in. Scurvy Dogs pulling back, trying to lure these guys. Skaven need to just go all in on defending this, because if Vampire Coast gets an objective back for even a second, it's going to be game blouses. And we do have Carronade shooting down here, which is going to be punishing the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers. Wolf Rats getting crushed by a couple of the Doggos, and Pistol Mobs moving up. And it looks like the animated Hulks are going to be hustling over here. Now, what are Skaven doing in response? Yeah, that's what I like to see. Vixtron's coming in from FPod. He's going to be moving those guys over to the side objective. 1489, dude. It's so close. Oh, my God. Pistol Mobs are on the way over. Scurvy Dogs do have a shit ton of chevrons, and they've gotten 1,400 value this game. Jeez. So there's some MLG Hounds hunting down those crews. Cannon shooting into the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers. Vixtron's Death Squad is on its way over. Is there going to be another Doggo summon? Animated Hulks are hustling. But, you know, they're catching up quick. The old Skaven are going to be winning very soon, in about 90 seconds, so a minute and a half until we see a Skaven victory here. And the Scurvy Dog's going to be scurrying about, trying to just stay away from the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers, get that capture weight advantage with some of the shooting and cannons, but they have not quite been able to get it. Skaven do have some Rat Ogres coming over there. Does Coast have any options? It looks like we do see some Morghuls coming over there, so they're really running out of time, dude. He's 11 away. I feel like this is going to be so tough to get, though. We do see the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers being shaken, and the Dogs are going to be running into the Vixtron squad, which is very, very precarious. They're going to get wrecked there. Will do a little bit of damage, I suppose. Might as well go out on your shield, as we do see the animated hulks coming over. We have 53 seconds left for the Skaven. Pistol mobs are on their way. Mourngulls and hulks, I don't think they're going to be making it in time. It looks like F-Pod is going to be pulling this one out. Beautiful, beautiful Skaven play. With some very cool units, too. Really good coast play, and also different coast play. It wasn't very meta Lords. That's what's really fun about watching King of the Dead games, too. He plays very off meta, but he's still able to beat top players and compete in tournaments, which is very, very fun. Deck end mobs there, shooting into the Rat Ogres. Should be able to break them. 28 seconds left. I do not think that Coast is going to be able to get this back. The pistol mobs need to be moving up onto the objective. It looks like they're going to be hustling now. But, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like there's 15 seconds left here. The pistols are shooting, but the Vixrans and Wolf Rats, Skaven are able to pile enough assets up here. Obviously, Coast would get this back eventually, but the value lead that the Skaven accrued was enough for them to kind of get a little bit of momentum on the battlefield. And that is going to be GG, well played. What an amazing scrap between these two players. This was a tournament match in the later stages of one of my most recent tournaments, and what a truly awesome match. And you know what won that game for the Skaven? There was great play on both sides. Really scrappy play, but when the Vixrans got in and just killed 2 cannons initially, I mean, it still could have gone either way from that point, but I think that was like the really big game-defining play, right? That sneaky, sneaky Skaven play. Gotta watch out for that, man. Oh, he had the Gallows Giant in reserve, too. That's pretty cool, man. A lot of fun potential. Yeah, I like Throt. I think he's cool. He's one of my favorite Skaven characters to use, especially on his beast there. A lot of gunplay, and of course, Globadier's doing very well. GG, well played to both players. Hope you enjoyed that one. 2,700 on the Avalanche Mortars. What chads? I think they got summoned twice, though, so you have to take that into account when you look at their value. GG, well played. See you guys next time.